Good morning. Woo! Everyone, welcome to MSU. Woo, woo, woo! Go green, go white, go green, go white. Woo! Welcome to the NSSC College Colloquium. Woo! I hope you all are excited and ready to.
You are muted.
Oh, woo, 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 woo. Oh my goodness. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are excited for you all to join us today for the NSSC Exploratory College Colloquium. We have some exciting information to share, and we're just excited to be here. And as you can see, we want you to just be engaged and know that we're here to help. And I know I used to be a cheerleader, everyone, so that's why I got my hands popping. I'm excited. This is on a good day and a bad day. Woo! But welcome.
Justin, you can just let us know when you want us to start so we can start whenever you want.
I say go for it right now. It looks like a lot of the people who registered are checked in and on time, which is awesome.
Well, alrighty then. Hello, everyone. As Mrs. Deborah mentioned, good morning. She's our cheerleader today. So, and thank you all once again for joining us today for the NSSC colloquialism. So just to start off, just with a couple key points before we proceed throughout the presentation. So if you got your coffee near you, if you got your tea, your dog, grab all those things and come along. So starting off, we're going to go ahead and with some staff introductions. So that's going to take a little time for today in the introductions. We're going to discuss academic information. So key important things that you need to know for the upcoming academic school year. We'll be discussing major exploration, which I'm sure is the reason why a lot of you are here today. We'll also be discussing transitional experiences as well as a Q&A and drop-in advising at the remainder of the session. Now, before we proceed to the next slide, I do want to make sure that we pinpoint if you guys have any questions at all, whether that be concerning your specific schedule or that just be in general, anything that we mentioned in the presentation today. We want you to be aware that there is a chat box below where you can place all of your questions. Once again, please refrain from making those questions very specific. So for example, say you have a CSE class on your schedule and you're like, I do not like this CSE class, how do I change it? Save those questions for the end of the presentation, as we will be hosting drop-in advising so that we can speak with you all one-on-one regarding those specific questions, okay? Thumbs up, you ready to go? All right, next slide. Okay, so now we're gonna start off. This is our lovely team. So we're just gonna start off with some introductions here to get us started. So we're gonna start with Dr. Green.
Hi everyone, welcome to MSU and welcome to the Exploratory Preference major. My name is Dr. Kiana Green. I go by Dr. Q. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am very excited to be here, excited for you all to be here and starting with us as an Exploratory Preference major in the Neighborhood Student Success Collaborative. So go green.
My name is Deborah. Woo! Okay, I cheer for everything, everyone. But anyway, my name is Deborah Thornton Fitzpatrick. I am the advising director for North and South Neighborhood. I have been on campus at Michigan State University for 29 years.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Lent. I'm an advisor normally in the North neighborhood, and I've been on campus probably since y'all been in grade school. I'm looking forward to a new semester.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kang Lee. I'm an academic advisor in the South neighborhood. I've been at MSU for 15, 16 years. I completed my PhD here in the college education and then worked for the NSSC for 7 years. Welcome you to MSU.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alyssa. I'm an advisor traditionally in Holden Hall, located in South Neighborhood. I'm an alum of Michigan State University, but I've been with the NSSC and advising team. This will be my second fall. So again, welcome to Michigan State. We're so excited that you have chosen Exploratory Preference. You will not be disappointed.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Charlie Liu. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm an advising director at the East and River Trail neighborhood, and I'm so glad for you to join us today.
Shay, you're muted.
I said hello, hola, ani, bosu. My name is Shay Sandoval Flores. I'm an advisor in River Trail neighborhood, and as you can tell, most of us have been here for a while. We were here for undergrad. Some people have 3 degrees from MSU, so most of us have a lot of knowledge about MSU, the academic program, the likes, the dislikes, and all the stuff that we went through as undergrads. So just feel free to ask us questions whenever, during advising sessions, emails. We'll get through all that eventually. So welcome, and I'm sorry if your eardrums have been busted. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Camille Floyd. I am an academic specialist in the East neighborhood. I've been at Michigan State now for almost going on 2 years. But I do want to go back a little bit to Miss Shay. Shay is also the co-presenter for today. So we want to welcome Shay in case you guys see her on the next couple of slides. I want to make sure that I pay her that mind as well. So thank you once again for choosing Michigan State.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Billy Massey. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an academic advisor in the East neighborhood, and I've been on MSU's campus for about 5 years.
Good morning, everyone. Justin St. Charles, advising director for the Brody neighborhood. I, like a lot of my colleagues here, I've done my undergrad here. I got my master's here. I'm currently in a PhD program here as well. So I've been on campus for, as a student, as a professional, since about 2005. Welcome to Michigan State.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Miranda Escobar. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm an academic advisor in the Brody neighborhood. So go green.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexis Grantham. I am an academic advisor in Brody neighborhood. I have been working for the NSSC for over 5 years now, and I have 2 degrees from MSU. So go green and welcome to Spartan Nation.
I believe that's my cue to talk about academic information. Next slide. So you're probably wondering what your college is. So that lovely NSSC is what we call it. Neighborhood Student Success Collaborative is what it stands for. And we'll talk about your major on the next slide, which is exploratory or exploratory pref, however you want to say it. So academic advising is basically your course enrollment, adding and dropping courses, major exploration, student life support, personal support, campus resources, academic policies, and anything else that you encounter during your academic career. So that's where we come in, and you may come with a question that we haven't had before, and that's when we try to find out the answer if we don't know, or we point you in the right direction to someone that we do know has that answer. And the next is the administrative functions, grief absences. Stuff happens in life, attending funerals, etc. You come to us, we get that filled out for you or help you fill out. Late drops, which Camille will talk about soon with the deadlines. A lot of these dates and deadlines are very important, so that's when you get out your phone or your notebooks or whatever and write down and be on top of those dates. And if something happens where you miss the date, that's where we also come in and we try to help you process that as soon as possible. Medical withdrawals, as well as major changes, readmissions, reinstatements, academic standing decisions, etc. As we all said, most of us have been here before, so we know a lot of the stuff that you're gonna go through because we went through it as well. Some of us are more than open to sharing our stories of what we went through to let you know that this is not new. We've been through it. You're gonna probably go through a lot of it. So just to walk you through until you're able to advocate for yourself. Which brings you to your major for now. So exploratory preference, exploratory pref, however you want to call it, that's your major for freshman and sophomore year at least. So by the time you hit junior status, which is 56 credits, the university requires you to declare a major. In the meantime, that's when as much exploring that you can manage comes into play. So when you're sitting there thinking about hobbies, your purpose, your passion, what you're interested in, what you liked or disliked, because sometimes the dislikes help as well, of what you went through in high school, or maybe a job that your mom or dad, aunts, uncles, somebody does that you've always been curious about. Those are the types of questions that we'll walk you through to find out what your passion and purpose are, and something that you may want to major in eventually. So you may have 4, and we can help you hone in on those classes and explore as much as possible until you figure out. So that's where the exploring the wide variety of disciplines that majors that offered at MSU and discovering your appropriate major fits in. Which is our neighborhood location. So my suggestion is to be nosy, because that's what I call it, and going to the nssc.msu.edu and looking at all the tabs and getting familiar with all the information that's on there. And if you were in person, the neighborhoods would be North, which is the Union, River Trail, which is McDonald Hall, which is where I would be located in person, Hubbard, which is East, Holden, which is South, and Brody, which is usually people think Kellogg Center, it's right across from there. So if now that we're remote, you would basically use the online engagement website, which is listed below, and then you will go on and find out how to engage or interact with your advisor from that website.
All right, so important dates. This is what you all are here for, right? Okay, so a few important dates for the upcoming semester here. So this is for the first week, okay? So this is just breaking down the first week of classes and then further off into the semester, okay? So we have, obviously, on the 2nd, you guys are going to be starting classes. So, woo! In my Deborah voice, we got to get excited there. So, once again, you know, just follow up, follow your Monday schedule on Wednesday, September 2nd, Thursday, September 3rd, and Friday, what is that, September 4th. And those will be meeting as normally scheduled. So also in the month of September, we have September 9th, which is the open ad period ends by 8 p.m. So that's extremely important. Just for example, as I mentioned earlier, say if you have a class on your schedule that you are like, no, I don't think this fits within my class, you do have that first week of classes to pretty much get a sense of what your schedule flow may look like. So say, for example, you do take that CSE class and you're like, okay, I guess I might like it, but then it's a different class in your schedule. You're like, I don't know if I like having those specific classes back to back. Between the 2nd and the 9th, you do have the opportunity to kind of do some adjusting to your schedule. But it is very important to do that by the 9th because that's when the open ad period ends by 8 p.m., okay? Then next in September, we have the 28th, which is the tuition refund period ends. This is also another important thing to note here, especially say, for example, To be considered full-time at MSU, I hope you all are aware of this. It is a minimum of 12 credits, okay? But with flat rate tuition, if you fall anywhere below that 12 credit hours, you do become more eligible to receive a refund. However, if you are, say, for example, registered in 15 credits and you drop a class, that puts you at probably between 12 to 13, which would mean that you are not eligible. So just make sure that you guys are keeping in track of your credit hours. And once again, make sure that you consult with the academic advisor during this entire period to make sure that, you know, you're not making little small mistakes that may have long impacts. The next we have October, which is the middle of semester. That's midterms. You're halfway through it. The last day to drop classes with no grade reported, that's going to be October 21st. And then we have December 11 classes in. You will be finishing, and I'm going to speak that into existence, okay? You will be finishing your fall semester successfully, okay? So we got 11 to look forward to, and then we have December 23rd, which is academic standing determined there. And academic standing is more so, have you satisfied your curriculum, right? How have you performed in your work? And that's when we see grades. That's when we see if you're in good academic standing, or we may need to do more work in terms of us working with you and you working with us in terms of resources, okay? All right, next slide.
All right, so you're probably wondering, where can I find important dates? So if you look to the below on the left, for my left, it's www.reg.msu.edu, which is the registrar's website. So there will be a lot of dates on there, like when the holidays are. So that's most likely your classes. You won't have to meet for your classes. Spring break, middle of the semester, as Camille mentioned, classes and commencements, et cetera, et cetera. So get familiar with that website as well. And I'm sure if you've seen schedule.msu.edu already, you'll see that if you click on the section, that's usually where the classes begins, open add-ins, last day to drop. All that information is on there as well. Plus, up in the corner, if you see the department is where the website, the in-person address of where you can ask questions, possibly do overrides as well. So those are also two important websites, as well as a lot of information on those websites. Major exploration.
Okay, so as I mentioned really earlier in the presentation, major exploration, that's why a lot of you are here today, okay? So just in general, during major exploration or your appointments with academic advisors, right? So all of those individuals that you saw earlier that introduced themselves, we all serve within the NSSC. So we are all academic specialists. So what our appointments generally look like for you all include one-on-one meetings. So in those one-on-one meetings, we pretty much, as Shay mentioned, we discuss your interests. We discuss your strengths, your talents, and your goals as well. And so, for example, I do want it to be notated, however, that, you know, say, for example, you're like, oh my God, I really love my mom's job, or I really love my dad's job. And we ask you why, and you say, because they make a lot of money. Well, us as academic advisors, it is our job to kind of dig deeper into your why, because obviously we're going to be more realistic in terms of looking at today's culture and looking at what's happening in the US right now, right? Everything going on with COVID. Some careers people may not necessarily, you know, you have to be in that field. You have to really love and being in that field in order for the money to come, right? So say, for example, say you want to be a nurse, say you want to be a doctor. Right now in COVID, guess what's happening? Those are people that need to be there when they necessarily don't want to be there, right? Like they're placing their lives at risk to be able to help us, right? And even though their money, they may be making a lot of money, there is a certain amount of responsibility that comes with that money, right? So I do want you guys to know that just because a job, it may perceive that it pays a lot of money, along with that money comes a lot of responsibility. So that's where we come into play in terms of making sure that we help assist you guys with thinking about your why. Why is it that you're choosing this career other than money? Okay, money's gonna come if you hone in on your skills. So that's what we're here for. Assessment. So during our session, sometimes we will help assist you guys with taking the Spartan Interest Inventory and Strengths Finder. So what those assessments do is they pretty much do the footwork for us. So it's pretty much a form that you guys read through questions, you fill it out, and then after you fill out the questions, we go through those forms with you to kind of see what majors and what careers best assist with your results from those assessments. A good also resource would be Career Services. If you guys visit their website, they have a lot more resources in terms of that. And then also even trying to plan make an appointment with a Career Services individual, just so that they can also help assist you with getting more in-depth knowledge of fields and changes in the economy and all of that. And then next would be parallel planning. So there is more than one way to get to your goal. So for example, right, a lot of students come to MSU and they see the headliner, right? They see Broad Academic, Broad Business College, right? Of course, everyone, you know, wants to have some business background, obviously, you know, with today's economy. But once again, please be aware that with me saying that business is everywhere, right? Business is in education, business is in technology, business is in communications. So it may not be necessarily that you want to go into business. It may be necessarily that you want to get some of that leadership background, that you want to get some of that communication background so that you can be business savvy, right? And so when we're talking about career planning, for example, say you're interested in business, but you also have an interest in being creative, right? Comm Arts and Sciences has an amazing major called creative advertising, where you get that actual business experience, but you also get the curriculum associated with being a creative and expressing yourself. So make sure that you guys are paying attention to parallel planning, which is once again why we're here. All right, so next slide. Well, we're gonna go into a small video here. So once again, grab your coffee, grab your tea, and your dog, and here we go. All right, 1 second, guys. Just bear with us. Take another sip of that coffee here.
It wasn't that I didn't have any interests. It's that I had too many. Raise your hand if you've ever been asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Now, if you had to guess, how old would you say you were when you were first asked this question? You can just hold up fingers. 3, 5, 3, 5, 5. Okay. Now, raise your hand if the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, has ever caused you any anxiety? Any anxiety at all? I'm someone who's never been able to answer the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? See, the problem wasn't that I didn't have any interests, it's that I had too many. In high school, I liked English and math and arts, and I built websites, and I played guitar in a punk band called Frustrated Telephone Operator. Maybe you've heard of us. This continued after high school, and at a certain point, I began to notice this pattern in myself, where I would become interested in an area, and I would dive in and become all consumed, and I get to be pretty good at whatever it was. And then I would hit this point where I'd start to get bored. And usually I would try and persist anyway, because I had already devoted so much time and energy and sometimes money into this field. But eventually, this sense of boredom, this feeling of like, yeah, I got this. This isn't challenging anymore. It would get to be too much, and I would have to let it go. But then I would become interested in something else, something totally unrelated, and I would dive into that and become all consumed, and I'd be like, yes, I found my thing. And then I would hit this point again, where I'd start to get bored, and eventually I would let it go. But then I would discover something new and totally different, and I would dive into that. This pattern caused me a lot of anxiety for two reasons. The first was that I wasn't sure how I was going to turn any of this into a career. I thought that I would eventually have to pick one thing, deny all of my other passions, and just resign myself to being bored. The other reason it caused me so much anxiety was a little bit more personal. I worried that there was something wrong with this, and something wrong with me for being unable to stick with anything. I worried that I was afraid of commitment, or that I was scattered, or that I was self-sabotaging, afraid of my own success. If you can relate to my story and to these feelings, I'd like you to ask yourself a question that I wish I had asked myself back then. Ask yourself where you learned to assign the meaning of wrong or abnormal to doing many things. I'll tell you where you learned it. You learned it from the culture. We were first asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, when we're about 5 years old? And the truth is that no one really cares what you say when you're that age. It's considered an innocuous question posed to little kids to elicit cute replies, like, I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be a ballerina, or I want to be a pirate. Insert Halloween costume here. But this question gets asked of us again and again as we get older in various forms. For instance, high school students might get asked what major they're going to pick in college. And at some point, what do you want to be when you grow up goes from being the cute exercise it once was to the thing that keeps us up at night. Why? See, while this question inspires kids to dream about what they could be, it does not inspire them to dream about all that they could be. In fact, it does just the opposite. Because when someone asks you what you want to be, you can't reply with 20 different things. The well-meaning adult will likely chuckle and be like, oh, how cute, but you can't be a violin maker and a psychologist. You have to choose. This is Dr. Bob Childs. And he's a luthier and a psychotherapist. And this is Amy Ung, a magazine editor turned illustrator, entrepreneur, teacher, and creative director. But most kids don't hear about people like this. All they hear is that they're going to have to choose. But it's more than that. The notion of the narrowly focused life is highly romanticized in our culture. It's this idea of destiny, or the one true calling. The idea that we each have one great thing we are meant to do during our time on this earth, and you need to figure out what that thing is and devote your life to it. But what if you're someone who isn't wired this way? What if there are a lot of different subjects that you're curious about and many different things you want to do? Well, there is no room for someone like you in this framework. And so you might feel alone. You might feel like you don't have a purpose. And you might feel like there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. What you are is a multi-potentialite. A multi-potentialite is someone with many interests and creative pursuits. It's a mouthful to say, It might help if you break it up into 3 parts: multi, potential, and ite. You can also use one of the other terms that connote the same idea, such as the polymath, the Renaissance person. Actually, during the Renaissance period, it was considered the ideal to be well-versed in multiple disciplines. Barbara Scher refers to us as scanners. Use whichever term you like or invent your own. I have to say I find it sort of fitting that as a community, we cannot agree on a single identity. It's easy to see your multipotentiality as a limitation or an affliction that you need to overcome. But what I've learned through speaking with people and writing about these ideas on my website is that there are some tremendous strengths to being this way. Here are 3 multipotentialite superpowers. 1, idea synthesis. That is combining 2 or more fields and creating something new at the intersection. Shaw Wong and Rachel Binks drew from their shared interests in cartography, data visualization, travel, mathematics, and design when they founded Meshu. Meshu is a company that creates custom, geographically inspired jewelry. Shaw and Rachel came up with this unique idea, not despite, but because of their eclectic mix of skills and experiences. Innovation happens at the intersections. That's where the new ideas come from. And multipotentialites, with all of their backgrounds, are able to access a lot of these points of intersection. The second multipotentialite superpower is rapid learning. When multipotentialites become interested in something, we go hard. We absorb everything we can get our hands on. We're also used to being beginners because we've been beginners so many times in the past. And this means that we're less afraid of trying new things and stepping out of our comfort zones. What's more, many skills are transferable across disciplines, and we bring everything we've learned to every new area we pursue, so we're rarely starting from scratch. Nora Dunn is a full-time traveler and freelance writer. As a child concert pianist, she honed an incredible ability to develop muscle memory. Now she's the fastest typist she knows. Before becoming a writer, Nora was a financial planner. She had to learn the finer mechanics of sales when she was starting her practice, and this skill now helps her write compelling pitches to editors. It is rarely a waste of time to pursue something you're drawn to, even if you end up quitting. You might apply that knowledge in a different field entirely in a way that you couldn't have anticipated. The third multipotentialite superpower is adaptability. That is the ability to morph into whatever you need to be in a given situation. Abe Cahuto is sometimes a video director, sometimes a web designer, sometimes a Kickstarter consultant, sometimes a teacher, and sometimes apparently James Bond. He's valuable because he does good work. He's even more valuable because he can take on various roles depending on his client's needs. Fast Company magazine identified adaptability as the single most important skill to develop in order to thrive in the 21st century. The economic world is changing so quickly and unpredictably that it is the individuals and organizations that can pivot in order to meet the needs of the market that are really going to thrive. Idea synthesis, rapid learning, and adaptability. 3 skills that multipotentialites are very adept at, and 3 skills that they might lose if pressured to narrow their focus. As a society, we have a vested interest in encouraging multipotentialites to be themselves. We have a lot of complex, multidimensional problems in the world right now, and we need creative, out-of-the-box thinkers to tackle them. Now, let's say that you are, in your heart, a specialist. You came out of the womb knowing you wanted to be a pediatric neurosurgeon. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong with you either. In fact, some of the best teams are comprised of a specialist and multipotentialite paired together. The specialist can dive in deep and implement ideas, while the multipotentialite brings their breadth of knowledge to the project. It's a beautiful partnership. But we should all be designing lives and careers that are aligned with how we're wired. And sadly, multi-potentialites are largely being encouraged simply to be more like their specialist peers. So with that said, if there's one thing you take away from this talk, I hope that it is this. Embrace your inner wiring, whatever that may be. If you're a specialist at heart, then by all means specialize. That is where you'll do your best work. But to the multi-potentialites in the room, including those of you who may have just realized in the last 12 minutes that you are one, to you I say, embrace your many passions. Follow your curiosity down those rabbit holes. Explore your intersections. Embracing our inner wiring leads to a happier, more authentic life. And perhaps more importantly, multi-potentialites. The world needs us. Thank you.
Welcome back. I hope you gained a lot of knowledge from that short TED Talk there. Which brings us to major exploration. As you can see from this slide, there's over 160 majors across 14 colleges. I don't know if you know about the website, but most of your advisors, well, all of your advisors can tell you to go to www.msu.edu and look, click on academic programs and scroll down to academic programs catalog. All of these majors and minors are listed on there under the course, the department, et cetera, et cetera. I task you to get on there, and I call it being nosy, exploring as you may, and just look and see if any of those interest you. If there's 3 or 4 that interest you, there's a possibility that there's courses in those 3 or 4 disciplines that are the same. And I also task you, while you're doing your courses this semester and the semesters moving forward, write down which ones you seem to do better in, which ones are more interesting to you, which ones align with your goals and passion, and that might help you with your major exploration. I know a lot of students are interested in business. As Camille said, there's other ways of getting that degree. Some of you may be interested in design and construction. Their SPDC, I'll give them a little plug here. They have all 4 disciplines in one college, which is ag and natural science / social science. They have the urban planning, the design, the construction. They will be more than happy to talk to you about what they offer. Getting familiar with the websites of these different departments for majors is also another thing to help in your exploration process. Looking and see what the resources they're offering, if there's any job shadowing, volunteering, et cetera, that they have on their website to give you more of an idea of what you could possibly major in, your likes and your dislikes, and then moving forward, coming to us and saying, hey, I'm also interested in poli-sci general or biochemistry or whatever it is, and then we will help you hone in on what specific areas you're passionate about the most.
Okay, transitional experiences. Okay, so this is where we get the opportunity to be, I guess, to have somewhat of a small bit of what we would normally talk to you all about within our sessions, our one-on-one sessions. So obviously, as I mentioned earlier, you know, we're not going to avoid the obvious, right? What are we doing right now? We are currently interacting virtually, right? Last year, we would not have been going through this, right? So obviously, as the world is going through transition, so are we as individuals, right? And so being a freshman or a transfer student at MSU, that encompasses its own transitions as well. And so within those transitions, it includes like social adjustment. So normally on campus, if you will be living on campus, some of the social adjustments that you would be kind of navigating is just getting to know new people, right? You're coming from a specific state, a specific city, and you're in the environment with other individuals that are not like you, right? So just getting adjusted to being in a new environment where you really don't know many people or a selected few, and just trying to make sure that, you know, not only are you building a network of students around you, but that you're also building a network of staff members and faculty around you that are to support you on your institutional navigation. And so we also have mental wellness, right? And so just discussing mental health, right? I'm pretty sure we've all been kind of aware of what's happening in the world right now, you know, with COVID, and there's so many things happening that people are experiencing burnout. People are experiencing, you know, somewhat of anxiety and things like that. And so those are all mental wellness, I won't say issues, those are more so mental wellness things that we can help assist you with, but also help assist you with getting the proper resources, right? And there's nothing wrong with making sure that you're mentally, you know, taking care of yourself, right? Because if you aren't taking care of yourself, there's no way possible that you're going to be able to perform in your academics the way that you in tune would really want to, okay? So make sure that you guys are taking care of yourself first. And then making sure that you're once again in contact with your academic advisor so that we can help assist in any way to make sure that your academics are kind of, you know, leaning off of that front. Next, we have financial concerns. You know, a lot of these concerns may consist of, hey, I have scholarships, right? I have grants, I have all of these things. And if I don't complete this specific amount of credit hours, if I don't reach this specific GPA, how would this impact my overall, my financial, you know, obligations and things like that? Those are questions that we can help assist. Then class environments and learning styles. Once again, as I mentioned, I am currently looking at a screen and a camera, which means that you are too. So right now we are all, and mind you, I put an emphasis on all, okay? So all meaning staff, faculty, as well as you, we are all getting adjusted to this new world of remote learning, right? Of remote teaching, of remote advising, right? So with that, and knowing that you guys will also be navigating just this transition and how to interact, I do ask that you all also share that same sentiment for your academic advisors, but also for your faculty, right? We're all collectively going through this transition together. So that's a good note to know that you are not navigating that specific space by yourself, that we are collectively navigating that space. Next, we have time management, right? So going off of, you know, adjusting to a new class and learning environment, right? Being on top of your time management as we would normally emphasize if we were in person, it may be even more emphasized now that we are virtual, right? And so making sure, you know, a couple of things that I would stress to students as when I took advantage of this for my bachelor's as well as my master's, would try and get a planner, right? I know that they're on sale. Go to your local Walmart, local Target, wherever you can get a planner, try and go get a planner, right? Or if you're a tech person, use your iPhone. Just try and make sure that you are remaining on top of your due dates and anything important that you need to know in terms of your syllabus, as well as that you're making sure that you are remaining in contact with your faculty members in terms of class assignments and when due dates are, because once again, they may be a little bit more lenient. Some may not. Do not take my word for it, okay? So I guess going along with that, we have self-advocacy, right? So with social adjustments, with mental wellness, even class environments, right? There may come a time where you have to advocate for yourself. And when I mean advocate for yourself, I mean literally inform your staff members and your faculty members of what's going on with you in your life, right? So say, for example, if something's happening in your home that's really deterring you from being able to actually, you know, perform in the class the way that you would want, inform us of that, because we could probably help assist and work with your faculty members on ways where we can make, you know, certain things adjusted, right? Maybe you can't meet the actual exam date, right? There's a way that we can kind of somewhat arrange for you to try and do a late exam or even an earlier exam, right? So self-advocacy is really you just speaking up for yourself in a legitimate fashion, right? So if you sneeze and you're like, I can't do the exam, that's not a legit excuse, okay? You just sneeze. But if you're dealing with, you know, the flu or anything like that, then absolutely, that's something that we can for sure work with you on, okay? So make sure that you guys are advocating for yourself in your classes. Next is freedom and responsibilities. So with that, you know, normally, once again, being on a college campus, you get a lot of freedom and you also have a lot of responsibility, right? So once again, being on campus, you would have normally been able to, you know, go to, and we're going to say here, because we're going to be honest with you guys, there's parties on campus, okay? You cannot avoid it. You're at a college campus. You are now outside of your mother's home. You get to do pretty much what you want to do, but also with that, there comes some responsibility, right? And so just making sure that even though you have this added amount of freedom, that you're also recognizing the responsibility with that, and kind of comparing that to what I mentioned before about, you know, specific careers, right? So even though specific careers, they may have a lot of money that comes with it, right? Financial freedom, there is still a professional responsibility that those individuals have to uphold in order to receive that financial supplication. So it's just, this college is actually preparing you all for when you walk into your career fields and making sure that you have that discipline. So making sure, once again, that you guys are remaining responsible on your coursework, that you are remaining responsible on your obligations as a student first, and then whatever after that, that's on you, okay? And then next with that is diversity, right? And when we hear the word diversity, different people will think many different things, right? But diversity is really pretty much differences, right? So we all do not think alike. Shay and I represent differently. We think differently. We dress differently. We talk differently, right? But that's the diversity component to it. She has some experience that I might not have, and then I have some experience that she might not have. Now, does that negate our experiences? No, it just means that they have a different perspective. And so with coming to college, just know that as you're navigating these classrooms, as you're navigating these different relationships, to not be so resistant to change, right? Change is a good thing. Obviously, the world right now has changed. So if you have not adjusted to the constant change that's happening in this world, it's going to be very challenging for you to adjust to the constant change that's happening in higher education, in your classes, with your relationships. So one word of advice that I would give you all is definitely get adjusted and acclimated to change. You are going to change throughout your entire 4 years of college, right? You will not be, and I guarantee you, you will not be the same person that you are today, that you will be in 4 years. So just be open to change and know that once again, throughout all of these common transitional experiences, that we are here to assist you navigate that space. Think of us as your compasses along your journey, okay? All right, guys, next slide.
That was a lot. Thank you for staying with us. I know I'm on vacation here in my living room, so I was kind of like phasing out. So Justin let me know that my camera was kind of jacked up there. So we are talking about remote transitional experiences now. So I know I got a lot of emails about asynchronous versus synchronous learning. Believe me, we're not trying to make this difficult. So asynchronous basically sounds as like a big word, I get it. That's basically saying that timeline is not a concept, like the professor is not having you on for a specific time. Okay, but being mindful though, there might be some group work or some type of work with interaction with another student or students in your class. So you may not have to be on at 12:40 specifically, but if you know an assignment has to be done by 12 o'clock on Friday, and you have to work with 3 different people, well, then you're gonna have to make sure that you manage your time properly, meet with those people, whether it's social distancing safe in person or online or over the phone, and getting that work turned in. Synchronous is specific time. So if your COM 240 class is at 12:40, unless the professor says otherwise, the expectation is that you need to be online at 12:40. So if there, as far as like our students that are like in California, for instance, I've advised, okay, so if you are 3 hours behind and your class is at 8 a.m., be mindful, you're gonna have to get up when? If you're 3 hours time different. So that may not be the best course of action, or if that's the class you really wanna take, then you need to make an adjustment with when you go to bed to versus when you're getting up to get on to that synchronous class that you have to be on at that time. And as Camille said, there's a lot of stuff that she said on the previous slide. This may be very well where the digital fatigue comes in, because I'm sure you've experienced some of it before. If you're on social media all the time, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and now you're gonna be online with these courses, you're gonna get tired. So that's when you need to pay attention to your body and the signs. And that may even be where you need to say, okay, I've been on Facebook for an hour, I've been on Snapchat for an hour, and I have classes, 4 classes back to back. Manage your time and say, okay, well, let me put a notification on my phone that says, hey, you've been on Facebook an hour, log off. You've been on Snapchat, log off. Just to be mindful of your own personal fatigue, because you want to give it your all when you're paying attention to the professor on these classes and giving it all for your academic work, period. Which brings us to staying connected. Okay, most of us are remote, we're at home, we are seeing the same 4 walls, we're getting exhausted, we're just flat out losing. We're just like, oh, okay, enough is enough. All right, so staying connected could be different things for different people. For me, that's when that support comes in, like reaching out to people, maybe going on social distance walks safely, or calling up somebody, which we give you the option of a Zoom advising session versus a phone. If you're tired of looking at the phone or the screen all day long, then you can call instead of making a Zoom appointment, and that's fine. And staying connected also can mean reaching out to an advisor that you've made a connection with and just saying, like, I'm having a tough time. Here's why X, Y, and Z. Where do I go? Or how can you help me? Or this class I'm struggling with. Also staying connected with your professors and or teachers' assistants if there's one assigned to that class, and just letting them know, like, I struggle with learning online. What can I do? What are some more options? And just letting them know who you are, the face, the name, instead of just, a PID number. So they can say, okay, well, let me be on the lookout, so to speak. Such and such is having a little bit of an issue, and just making sure that it's kind of like high school. You stayed after class and you said, hey, I'm not doing too well. What can I do? And going from there. And as Camille said, we're all in uncertain and very ambiguous times right now. We are all going through this. Giving yourself some grace, giving others grace, giving yourself patience, and anything else that you can. If you need a break, take a break. If you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. If you need to go for a mental health walk, go for that mental health walk. You may not get everything that you got in high school. This may be more challenging. You might be sharing internet with 5 people in a house. I'm a mother of 2, and there's 3 of us online for 8 hours a day at least. It's a lot. Your internet strength may be not as good. Your connectivity may go in and out. That's fine. Just letting us know and staying on top of things. But like I said, give yourself grace. Nothing is perfect. That's fine. We all have hiccups and bumps. We'll work through them as best as we can. We're all going through this. Which brings us to a lot of supportive services. I won't go through all of them, but just know that typically there's learning centers, the math learning centers. A lot of your classes will have tutoring and help rooms. Yes, most of it is online. There's RCPD for different abilities. There's the writing centers. There's career services. There will be more and more stuff listed on different websites. Being familiar with these resources, whether they're academic, social, personal, intercultural, Emerald, which is ICAs. There's a lot of different resources and supportive services, where everybody's pretty much trying to transfer onto online. So there might be a different way of accessing those, and we will try to get that information out to you as soon as possible. But if you have a question about anything, please feel free to email us, schedule an appointment, and just let us know what your process, your thought process is, and we will help you as much as possible, as soon as possible.
All right, so we have you guys on here. So you've held up your end of the bargain, right? You are now on the Zoom. So we are going to inform you of our bargain, right? And so as academic specialists, we operate from this specific success model. So within this model, you guys, this is what we use in terms of assisting you all, right? And so the NSSC student success model includes academic proficiency. So as academic advisors, we seek to help enhance your academic performance and skills, give you an understanding of different learning styles and strategies, as well as early knowledge and use of academic resources. So that's the academic component to our success model and how we do our work with you all. Next, we have institutional navigation. So as a part of our work in the NSSC, we seek to give you guys an understanding of policies related to academic standing and time to degree, which is a huge question that I'm sure a lot of the academic advisors get here is, how long is it going to take me to graduate? So we help you guys with understanding the policies related to that process, as well as the knowledge of institutional processes and procedures, right? So there may be one instance where we may have to connect you to an individual more so than yourself reaching out to that individual, right? It's a process. And then lastly, we have social emotional engagement, which is kind of what I discussed before, balance involvement. So say if you're involved in a lot of extracurricular activities and just trying to figure out, okay, how do I balance my responsibility as a president of this org or this frat or this sorority along with my my college curriculum and things like that. A sense of belonging, right? So knowing that, you know, you do have a place in higher education, knowing that, once again, as I mentioned before, all of you, all 164 participants today will make it through your college journey, right? I'm speaking that into existence here. Then next we have reflection and self-assessment. So throughout those entire 4 years, as I mentioned, you will change as a human being. Life will happen. You will change, right? So we're here to assist you all in that process, as well as just intercultural awareness and engagement. Once again, there's somewhat of that diversity component to it, making sure that you guys are becoming more aware of social differences, as what we are here in America in general. And so just making sure that you guys are becoming more aware of intercultural initiatives as well as engagement here on MSU's campus. Next step. Okay. So with that, right? So obviously I wear glasses. Not sure how many of you wear glasses, right? But when these glasses come off, it's blurry. Can't see anything, right? So this is a great example of what happens once, you know, we are all able to work together to help you reach your goal. So with, you know, operating off the student success model, it is our hope that, you know, once you guys receive the resources, the advocacy, all the things that you need within from us, and we work together on that, that, you know, once you become more clear on how the institution functions, on your resources, that will build your confidence. That after that process, you will know that, hey, I can go through these entire 4 years. No matter what happens, I'm going to see the finish line, okay? So that's pretty much what this slide is, just a visual representation of what happens when you take advantage of resources, right? When you advocate for yourself, and you're making sure that you are staying up to date on important policies as well as deadlines and things like that. So that's what this slide is for. Next slide.
Okay, we're almost winding down. So how to make an appointment with an academic advisor. As you can see on the dates, August 28th to September 11th, which is basically your first 2 weeks of classes, we are doing the drop-in only. So it says you should have received a link. If you didn't, or you're unable to access that link, you can go to the nssc.msu.edu, and then it's under the advising tab. Moving forward from September 14th to the end of the fall, we will do drop-in and appointments. And the appointment is going to msu.campus.eab.com, which most of you are familiar with, of making an appointment and following the procedures listed on here. If you have any questions, or if you can't get in there, or if something's not working, contact any advisor in the NSSC and we will help you out with making an appointment.
All right, so this is wrapping up here with our last slide. So as we wrap up, we want to make sure that you guys stay engaged with us. And so One way to stay engaged here is by following us on Instagram. Yes, we have an Instagram, okay? So we're at MSU NSSC. So on this website or on this our actual Instagram, you will be able to stay updated with important deadlines. So we do post, like ad drop period is coming up. Make sure that you guys, take the standard precautions. We also post to our Facebook as well. So make sure that you guys are remaining updated on our social media platforms. We also have a few initiatives that we have, including our NSSC podcast, which I am the host of. And so within our podcast, once again, I will be keeping you guys updated on key online learning strategies, as well as important dates and deadlines and things like that. So that may be a fun way, if you're getting your coffee together, just listen to the NSSC podcast, and then we'll get you guys some information there. Be on the lookout for more information regarding that. And if once again, if you had any questions, making sure that you guys are placing them in the chat. And I know that we will have some time for Q&A, I believe. But for the presentation side, that wrapped it up, guys. So you made it. You're here. You made it. Yeah. Justin, I'm not sure. Are we doing some Q&A answers?
Yeah,
or?
so with this, like Camille said, this was the actual college presentation portion that was required for you all to participate in. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about the NSSC, the exploratory preference, the services that can be offered. And it's not meant to be a catch-all. We're certainly aware that this was a lot of information just kind of thrown at you all. And generally, not constantly reflecting on times past, but normally we would have been in person. You all would have been separated by neighborhoods, so there would have been a lot more engagement. And so as Camille said, it's really important that if there's ways that you can stay connected in all of this, that we invite you to do so. I figured we could leave this running for probably about, let's say, 10 more minutes for kind of questions and answers to come through the actual platform. But then as Camille said, we have our drop-in process, and we want to make sure that you all can take advantage of that if you had any last-minute questions. So if it's regarding like your spring schedule, or if it's something that's like way down the road, we might want to schedule an appointment, like a 30-minute appointment to really unpack a lot of that. But today, and up through the 9th, if you all want to meet to talk about your classes, or, if you had an epiphany over the summer, right? I've talked to a lot of students who, when we first met at NSO, they were very much on this path. And then, they had kind of that come to Jesus moment, and all of a sudden they're on this path, right? And they're like, no, I actually want to do this. And so let's take advantage of, we have wonderful advisors who are on the ready to do the drop-in process. As Camille said, you all should have received an email from me specifically saying how to drop in using the Google form. If you didn't receive that email, please send me an email, and I'll put it in the chat room here. Send me an email and I can directly send that to you as well. My email is stchar10, stchar10 at msu.edu. So yeah, send me an email and I'll send you that link. Or as stated in the presentation, you can also go to nssc.msu.edu, and that's going to, excuse me, that's going to, actually, I gotta put this in the actual chat here. That's going to, if you click on the academic advising tab, you'll be able to find the link there. It'll be the one kind of Google form. So we do have a couple questions kind of coming through, and I believe that they're being answered as we speak. Also, a good question that was asked was, are you all going to receive a copy of this presentation? This presentation is being recorded, and I am going to send a PDF version of the presentation to you all once the, once the presentation ends. So yeah, so keep the questions coming, and certainly, like I said, we'll leave it open until about 10:10, and then we're going to close out this piece. And then if you all have specific questions, if you want to really unpack kind of your experience and what, the next couple of weeks are going to look like, do our drop-in advising, all right? And so I guess since we're all on still, some of them we can answer live. I see Shay had put that, for this question was, when do we want to declare a major and a minor? And, somebody answered that. So it should go to where you all can see the questions for it. But the real question, the real aspect of that is there is no timeline. The reality is at 56 credits, you do have to be in a degree granting major. And so you are going to need to determine that by then. But that's a long time. That's 2 full academic years. And especially when it comes to minors, I would say if you're able to kind of look and investigate and see minors by, like your sophomore year, that gives you enough time to kind of get started, as many of them are going to be about 15 to 20 credits in order to complete the minor. But what's nice about it is we are more than capable of helping you marry your interests, your strengths, your talents, to looking at different majors and minors that might be able to really complement that. So that was a good question. Ooh. Yeah, it looks like we have some really good questions kind of coming through here. And it looks like Myrna, I don't know if you're still on, but it looks like there was a question that was asked about the open ad period. And so just as a reminder, like Camille had shared, the open ad period is when you can make adjustments to your schedule. And September 9th by 8 p.m. is the last time that you can actually add a course to your schedule. Now, there are specific drop deadlines after that, where there's the refund deadline as well as the deadline to drop no grade reported. But that it's the open ad is when you can make adjustments, and by September 9th you're pretty much locked into the schedule that you have set then. So be mindful these first couple of days. Like Camille said, pay attention to your syllabus, get a sense of the way that your courses are planned together. Do you feel like you're in a lot of technical courses and that's overwhelming? Do you wish that you would add another elective because you're still actually really trying to explore options? Pay attention to your schedule, get a sense of it this week, because you have until next Wednesday, again, September 9th, to adjust your schedule and add and drop courses pretty freely. So anonymous attendee, it looks like it says it was answered live, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but it says, whenever I attempt to make an appointment online through the NSSC website, it will not allow me to make one. One important thing to recognize about the form is that on your Google, you have to be logged into your MSU email. That being that, like up in the upper right corner, you see the little circle and it has an initial. Most of us, like me, I have my Gmail, pre-logged on, because that's what I check personally. But what you're going to have to do is sign out of your Gmail or add an additional account that will allow you to sign into your MSU email. And what you'll do is you'll just type in, for me, it's stchar10@msu.edu. You'll hit next and it'll ask for the password, and then you should be logged in. And that's why you may not be able to access the form, because it is restricted to only individuals with a MSU login. So we have a couple more questions coming in. So Nina, I'm going to answer this question live. Is the StrengthsFinder assessment on the NSSC website? No, that is something that we have used in the past. And so it's one of those things where we can see if it's in our budget to purchase some codes. One year we did do a StrengthsFinder workshop. And so that one isn't one that is typically accessible for free, but there's a lot of free web, assessments that we use. There's a website called Truity that has a lot of really good kind of assessments that, again, you take it, read the results, and then we'll talk it through as your advisor, kind of one-on-one. And so, yeah, the StrengthsFinder is one of the paid ones, but certainly there are opportunities where we might hold workshops and that type of thing, but there are other ones that we can do. So I hope that answers that, Nina. And then for Sean, So on Wednesday, we are following a Monday class schedule. What happens to the Tuesday, Wednesday classes we have? That's a great question. So on because of Labor Day, you aren't going to have a Monday class because we start on a Wednesday and we go over the holiday weekend. So Wednesday will be your Monday class. Your Tuesday and Wednesday classes are going to be, you're going to experience those next week on actually Tuesday and Wednesday after the Labor Day holiday. But this week it's, Wednesday is your Monday, which can be sometimes kind of confusing. And then Thursday is your Thursday, Friday is your Friday. Monday you'll have off, so we have a long weekend. And then you have Tuesday and Wednesday where, you'll follow those classes. And remembering that Wednesday is the open ad deadline. So again, pay attention to how you're feeling about the courses, take a look at the syllabus and have that. So I hope I was able to answer that for you. All right. So like I said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and, please feel free to go in and do our drop-in advising. The advisors should be at the ready. We're going to transition off of this webinar into advising. So give us a second to kind of adjust. And yep, Miranda actually put the link in there. And we got, I'm going to put it in for the attendees as well. So if you did want to meet with an advisor and you wanted to do the drop-in, feel free to click that link that's in the chat and you all can meet with an advisor one-on-one. It looks like we have one more class or one more question that I'll answer live and then I'm going to end the webinar, okay? Well, it looks like there's two questions. So if all of my classes are asynchronous, does it matter what days I go on regarding the Monday schedule? Great question. Yes, your asynchronous classes, as Shay kind of explained, that is based on your time management and your schedule. Obviously, there's going to be different components to it, like she had said. So if there's group projects or, they might say that every Friday you need to have, this module done week to week, or you need to have these readings done. You'll have to plan it around there. But yeah, if you don't have any Monday schedules, classes where it's synchronous learning, so if all of your synchronous courses are actually Tuesday, Thursday, then yeah, you don't have to worry about the Monday schedule. All right, great question.
Justin, can I jump in really, really quickly just to give information about an assessment that's available to everyone through Career Services. So if you type in Google Choices 360, that is an online tool where you can look at, your interests, your values, beliefs about your work skills. It'll give you information about occupations, related majors, and that's an assessment that's available to all students for free through Career Services Network. So again, I think the easiest way to find it, if you just type in Choices 360 on Google, it'll come up for MSU Career Services Network. You'll be able to take the assessment through what's called Handshake. And once you get on there, it'll give you instructions for how to access it. But if students are interested in free assessments, that's one that you have access to, as soon as you hop online. So I just wanted to throw that in there really quickly.
No, excellent plug, Alyssa. Thank you. And that's the great thing about having this many advisors on, is we all have a million different tools that we use and that we feel confident in. And so this is, kind of the perk of having so many advisors at your disposal to kind of help you think and process and go through these different tools. So like Alyssa said, Choices 360 is an amazing tool. So feel free to access that as well. I see Mitchell had a question come in about, and I think it's important for those of you who are wanting to do the drop-in. Again, it's going to say that you need permission to fill out the Google form. If you're getting that error, that means that you are more than likely logged in, or not logged in, but more than likely logged in to your personal like Gmail or whatever email platform you use to log into Google. So what you'll need to do, or what you'll want to do, is to click on the little circle. And so since there's still about 100 people in here, let me do this and show you kind of what I mean, because I'm a visual person, so it actually helps me a lot to see things visually. So when we go to, I'm going to share my screen here. Google. So when you can see here, which is, I happen to use Chrome. If you use Safari or some other type of thing, you're going to see right here, there is a little, like you have your initial there, and you need to make sure that your MSU login is the one that's on there. And so I think if you're logged into the Gmail, you're going to want to log out of that and log into your MSU email to be able to access the form. That's the one way that I know that where people will get errors is if this is not your actual MSU email, because the form is restricted to individuals with an MSU network. That way, we make sure that it's MSU students who are benefiting from the service and that type of thing. So again, if you get an error, double check that you are logged in here. And if you are not logged in, or if you are logged in and it's still giving you an error, let me know, and I'll personally manually add you to the form. Just send me an email. Again, that's stchar10@msu.edu. All right. So again, I just want to echo at what everyone has said in the beginning here. We are excited to have you joining us, MSU, this semester. It is certainly going to be different, but we are here to support you. And just please, as questions come in, let us know. This concludes the actual webinar portion of this. You all have a great day, and we look forward to talking with you with our drop-in appointments. So go green. And I can hear you all. I know you're saying go white. You have a good one.